And Cade Collins, the absolutely spectacular sophomore talent for this team, number 30 for Linfield, their leading scorer, and truly their by far most dynamic player on this team. He's going to be a good one for head coach Levi Sieg for a couple more years in this program. Linfield clad in the road black unis tonight. Home golds for the Bearcats. We are underway inside Cone Fieldhouse, folks, from wherever you're tuning in with us here this evening. Very much appreciate having you along. A quick administrative stoppage. This happens a lot here in Salem. We'll get everything reset. Bearcats eliminated from the postseason. A once promising start to the year as Deontay Dean gets loose down the left side. Help defense rotates over way too slowly. Caden Lowenbach gets an elbow into the backside of Deontay Dean as he rolls to the rack and lays it up and in. So defensive breakdown for the Wildcats. That administrative timeout perhaps disorienting Linfield just a little bit as they lose sight of everything on the Bearcats' first touch here tonight. And Dean completes the conventional three-point play and stakes the Bearcats to the early 3-0 lead. Just a few seconds into this one. Again, thanks for hanging out with us on Valentine's Day from wherever you're watching tonight. Got 4 Bearcat spotlights to bring you tonight ahead of the senior night game next week, when we will be, of course, just focused on the 4 graduates from this Bearcats basketball program. We've got 4 guys tonight to introduce you to and get to learn a little bit more about, as Donovan Johnson skips down the left side and lays it up and in. So a bucket apiece and an and one for the Wildcats to open the scoring on the initial possessions for either team. Offensive rebound for Kai Brown keeps the possession at the Bearcats end. Here's Caleb Moore. Races down the right side. Good defense from Cade Collins to sort of thwart the forward progress of Caleb Moore. And then the Bearcats get caught napping a little bit in transition D. Collins feathers that pass up over the top. And Linfield with their first game. So buckets for the Wildcats on their first 2 touches tonight. Now Ryder showing a beautiful backdoor cut. And a fantastic pocket pass from Deontay Dean to find him in stride. And already 2 quick fouls whistled against the Wildcats. That one charged to Max Jahala. After it was Lowenbach who was tagged for the first on the Bearcats' first touch tonight. Linfield was 4-4 not that long ago in Northwest Conference play, but they have lost 4 straight. They are reeling. Their postseason chances on life support at the moment. A loss tonight, I believe, would mathematically eliminate them from a spot in the 4-team Northwest Conference postseason tournament. So Shung misses the first, connects on the second. We're all tied at 4, a minute and a half gone by. Here's Cade Collins. Streaking baseline to baseline. It's right to the rack and lays it up and in. Now here's Kai Brown challenging Collins at the other end. Shung drives the baseline, dumps it off inside. Good touch from Deontay Dean. 5 early points for the 6'5" senior from the Bahamas. He's looking dialed here so far in this game. Dean challenges that transition take from Jahala. Bothers it enough. Now Kai Brown at the other end. Rolls right down the right side, and from just outside the paint, leans in, goes to the glass and lays it up and in. Bearcats retake the lead at 8-6. Some pressure in backcourt. Collins looks up, finds Jahala to his left, works his way toward the baseline. And now Deontay Dean whistled for the first foul of the game against the Bearcats. We'll get our first sub of the game as well for either team. This is A.J. Tenether coming on for Willamette in place of Caleb Moore. Shot clock at 20 for the Wildcats. Ahead of this possession, Donovan Johnson. guarded by Tenether. They look down low for Lowenbach, coming off that 17-point, 12-rebound performance, his first ever double-double. Well, of the season anyway. And that pass picked off. Good anticipation from Cade Collins. He gets in the passing lane, gets a hand to it, knocks it to himself, and that now the first turnover of the game for the Bearcats. Tenether gets lost for a moment, but recovers nicely. Now Johnson on the drive, gets around Tenether. Sort of leans and reaches in and is able to force up a shot. He's fouled from behind by Tenether. And Donovan Johnson now will head to the free throw line. Again, Linfield with just one player averaging in double figures on the season. Cade Collins, local kid from Beaverton. Johnson good on the first. And now Adam Asai and Kahiel Brun will step onto the floor. Dean and Shung will come to the bench for second-year head coach Mike Lenahan. It's a very familiar program for a number of different reasons, of course. It's a long-time rivalry in the Northwest Conference, but for Isaiah Quintero, he was an assistant coach for the Wildcats for about 4 seasons under former head coach Shannon Rosenberg. With Rosenberg's departure, replaced on the bench by Levi Sieg a couple of years ago. That left Isaiah Quintero looking for a new place to call home. Very familiar with this area as Coach Quintero played college ball right across town at Corbin. 8-7 our score. About 3.5 minutes into this contest. Asai draws a defensive assignment on Jack Greenwood, who's coming off a couple of very fine performances so far this season. Couple guys get tangled up, and we are going the other way. Looks like they will call Jahala for pulling A.J. Tenether to the floor. And if I'm not mistaken, that's his second foul of the game. And it is. It's the third on Linfield here in the early goings. For the moment anyway, Sieg will opt to leave Jahala and those 2 fouls on the floor. Now Josiah Frank missed on a 3. Hasn't touched the ball a lot so far at the offensive end of the floor for the Bearcats, team's leading scorer. Here's Asai on the near side. Collins fights over the screen. Now Kai Brown, electrifying first step. Kai Brown just blows past everyone, gets right to the 10 and lays it up and in. Bearcats into double figures now. 10-7, exactly 4 minutes gone by. Good pressure in backcourt. Linfield able to break it. Into the front court, trots Greenwood. They drop it into the high post for Lowenbach. Turns, faces, picks up his dribble, needs help. Kicks to his right, it's Donovan Johnson. Now Collins from the corner, slides back to his left at the top of the key. Catches an elbow in the face from his teammate Lowenbach. But then Collins dumps it off into Lowenbach's hands. Rolls to the rack and does the rest. Draws the Wildcats back within 1. Cade Collins absolutely caught an inadvertent elbow from his teammate, but gets credit for the assist after Lowenbach knocks that shot home. Here's Brown going to work, challenging Jahala. And Jahala kind of just has to back off. Remember, he's got 2 fouls. And so Kai Brown with back-to-back buckets for the Bearcats. Now Frank tries to take it away from Collins. Cade Collins able to settle in, clears the timeline. Lowenbach now dribbles into the paint. Bearcats more than content to let him work his way into the lane before coming out to guard him. And now a held ball. And it will still be possession Wildcats with 8 seconds on the shot clock when we return. We're a little over 5 minutes gone by. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us on Valentine's Day on the Bearcat Network.
The luxurious Grand Hotel in downtown Salem offers a complimentary chef-prepared hot breakfast buffet, on-site underground parking, high-speed Wi-Fi, as well as a pool and fitness room. Enjoy an amazing dinner at Bentley's, our in-house restaurant, open Tuesday through Saturday. Our staff is here to make your visit seamless and worry-free. To make reservations, call 503-540-7800 and ask for the Willamette University rate. The Grand Hotel proudly supports the Willamette University Bearcat family.
To them, the whole world looks like an opportunity, one to be seized, built upon, and made better for their sport and the people around it. To student athletes, every opportunity is a chance to change what could be and show the world what opportunity can do.
Well, we've got a lot of really massive games with enormous postseason implications going on around the league. Let's quickly now take a peek into what else is going on. Whitman hosting George Fox. That's a game with big-time implications in the conference standings. Puget Sound hosting tonight as well. It's Whitworth at home against Pacific. We will absolutely be keeping an eye on each of these other three games tonight, as all of them have a stake in how things shake out as we get set for the final weekend of the regular season next weekend. Of course, we'll be celebrating Senior Day here in Salem next Saturday. Here's Deontay Dean after the Cade Collins 15-footer near the baseline. Draws the Wildcats back within a point. Adam Asai here on the near side. Tough pass, and it finds the baseline before it finds the hands of Kahiao Bruin, who tried to save it in bounds, but Asai didn't have a great angle. Winds up turning it over. And now Linfield with an opportunity to take the lead. For subs of the game for the Wildcats, Percy Whitaker now on the floor, as is Garrett Carlson. Jake Downing also logging his first minutes, as is Dayton Magana. So the only starter back still on the floor is Cade Collins. Here's Carlson going to work down low. His shot missed everything, but keeping it alive was Whitaker. Dumps it back to Carlson and able to finish with the left hand, and Linfield has its first lead at 13-12. About 6 minutes into the game, here's Josiah Frank on the drive. Lowers his head, switches to the right, leans in under the defender. That was a tough shot in traffic. Whitaker ahead at the top of the key, finds Collins. His 18-footer, no good, a little bit too strong. Tenether clears it. And Josiah Frank walks into a three-pointer. A bit too strong, and Collins flying in for the rebound. Collins wants to run. Floats in from 11 feet. That's no good. Kahiao Bruin, with the rebound for the Bearcats. Now A.J. Tenether lines up a three. That's off the mark. It's saved back in bounds into the hands of Dayton Magana. Now here's a transition look. Jake Downing fouled attempting a three. So a tough sequence for Tenether. Wide left on the three-point attempt, and fouls the three-point shooter. Jake Downing at the other end. Bearcats shooting well to open this game, 6 of 11 from the floor, about 55%. They have, however, missed all 4 of their three-point attempts in this game. Browning splits the first 2. Brown, Moore, and Shung back on the floor. Frank, Asai, and Tenether will step aside. They will join Bruin and Dean as the holdovers on the floor. Ahead of the third and final free throw for Downing. Knocks that down. Linfield reclaims the lead. All 4 games in the league tonight with postseason implications. We'll try to get everything sorted out and what wins and losses would mean for each team. How about that look? Deontay Dean really getting it going early in this game. He's got a game-high 7 points now. Now a foul and backcourt whistled against Kai Brown, who's got 6 of his own. And Dre Uparesa-Thomas will check into the game. One of several freshmen on this team. He will replace another native Hawaiian on the floor, but good to see Dre Uparesa-Thomas get some early burn in this one. Bearcats settle into a 2-3 zone. Actually, now it looked like a zone for a moment. This is, in fact, a man-to-man look. Magana Mishandles for a moment. Composes, steps back now from 19 feet, drains the long two. Linfield back on top by a point. Here's Kai Brown in the open floor. Gets past Browning, kicks back outside. Moore finds Uparesa Thomas, nowhere to go. Pocket pass, Caleb Moore on the drive, leaves it for Deontay Dean. And Deontay Dean threatening double figures in the early goings. He's got 9 to lead all scorers. How about that look from Caleb Moore? That was a great offensive set for the Bearcats. Great pace, great ball movement. And now Ryder Shung, right in front of me, gets clipped right across the jaw. Winds up on the seat of his pants. Couldn't quite hear it through the headset, but that was clear contact. And it does, in fact, amount to an offensive foul whistled against Zach Luce. And it'll bring us to a stoppage in play. However, we'll keep things right here because, folks, it is time to bring you the first of our Bearcat Spotlights tonight. One moment, please. We're having some issues with some documents this evening. But our first Bearcat Spotlight tonight is none other than Will Hurst. Will Hurst is a sophomore from Washington, D.C. We're going to cast the Bearcat Spotlight on Will. He was a little under the weather this week, so I'm glad to see that Will's dressed tonight. Available for this game, the graduate of Episcopal High School out in our nation's capital. His favorite food, burritos. His favorite athlete, well, he's got a couple. John Wall, who has, of course, played the majority of his professional basketball career right there in Washington for the Wizards, former University of Kentucky great. LeBron, of course, another, that's a familiar refrain. Nearly every dude on this team has LeBron or Steph as their favorite athlete, so John Wall and LeBron, his two favorite athletes. Pre-game music, Will's all about country music. So Morgan Wallen, Zach Bryan, Chris Stapleton, and Whiskey Myers, some of his favorite go-to artists in the playlist. His favorite team, the Lakers. Off the court, you will find him hanging out with his cat. How about that? Watching basketball and playing Fortnite. His favorite spot in Salem is the Mill Stream. That's a little stream that trickles through the middle of Willamette's campus. Other sports that he enjoys playing, baseball and cross country. He's undeclared on a major, but anticipates majoring in exercise and health science. Caleb Moore, the beautiful shot. Hey, real quick, just to put a bow on it with Will. He originally committed to Bard with Coach Linehan when he was still there, but when Coach Linehan was hired at Willamette, he changed his commitment to Willamette and came out here with him. Thought it was an opportunity, in his own words, an opportunity to take himself out of his comfort zone. And after college, Will wants to stay involved with basketball in any capacity, whether that's coaching or just being a behind-the-scenes kind of dude. And he also wants to travel the world. So a little bit more information about Will Hurst, fabulous player, very tough-nosed guy. Mike Linehan loves his competitiveness. A guy with just an engine that does not ever turn off. So intense in practice is Will Hurst. Another great addition to the Willamette basketball community. Now we've got Dre Uparesa Thomas at the free throw line. As we've got Pearson Wiggins on the floor for the first time tonight for the Bearcats. One of the many first-year players in this program. So 3 freshmen on the floor for the Bearcats right now. To go along with Ryder Shung, who's back on. That's good to see after he absorbed that elbow right across the face, right in the chops from Zach Luce. Bearcats with a 1-point lead nearing the halfway point of the first half. A little administrative stoppage to reset the shot clock. So 24 on the shot clock for the Wildcats, and it'll be Percy Whitaker to inbound. One of the freshman players for this Linfield team. So some clock issues here inside Cone. It's all right, we're getting it all sorted out. In a second, we'll have 10:40 showing on the game clock here in half number 1. Had a lot of fun doing these Bearcat Spotlights this season. Excited to keep this going. It's been really good to talk about each player, especially those guys who come from, and certainly in Will Hurst's case, 3 time zones away. His family, of course, staying up late on Valentine's Day to watch the game. Here's Uparessa Thomas. Off the free throw miss. Pearson Wiggins slides a few steps to his left. Beautiful pass to Pearson Wiggins, but well defended. Jake Downing gets a hand on that shot. Oh, they look inside. Garrett Carlson had good position, but that's a tough pass from Dayton Magana. We'd like to have that back. Just about the halfway point of half number 1. Linfield was 4-4 in conference play through the first half of league play, but they've lost all 4 of their league matchups here in the second half of the Northwest Conference docket. Wiggins with some good defense as he steps over and around Garrett Carlson. He was trying to back him down. So Zach Luce to inbound, standing just to the right of his own basket. Gets it back. Back up top, it's Whitaker. Around the Carlson screen. They try a little pick and popping with Carlson rolling right to the rack. He leaves it a little bit strong. However, Pearson's pass picked off. Good anticipation. Zach Luce just lurking in the tall grass. Intercepts and lays it in. And Linfield reclaims the lead. Our 5th, maybe 6th lead change of this contest already. Josiah Frank back on the floor. Caleb Moore drives. Jump stop. Dumps it off for Kai Brown up top. It's Dre Uparessa Thomas. Straight on 3 on the way. And a whistle away from the basketball. We're staying at the Willamette end as a loose ball foul administered against Garrett Carlson. That's his 2nd. And now Linfield's 6th. So the Bearcats will be in the bonus for 9 minutes and change here in the first. Dean and Brune will come back on. Kai Brown to inbound. Here's Dean. Spins back to the left. Goes right at Caden Lowenbach. Lowenbach took a shot from a shoulder from Deontay Dean. No foul was called, but Lowenbach, he might be bleeding from the nose. I believe he is. So now Lowenbach is going to have to come off as Deontay Dean was sort of trying to establish position down low with some incidental contact. His shoulder got into the nose of Lowenbach. So while they tend to him, they'll replace him on the floor with Logan Morrill, the junior from Astoria. I think the conversation between Wildcats coach Levi Sieg and the officiating crew is, hey, we had some incidental contact and it went against us. Why is that also not an offensive foul? Well, part of it, I can answer. Zach Luce just swung that elbow through to clear space and hit Ryder Shung right in the face. That was a little bit more incidental as Deontay Dean was just trying to back his man down, and that was a shoulder to the nose. He wasn't trying to clear space for himself. He was just making an aggressive post move. Speaking of posts, Downing was in the high post, free for a moment. It closed up quickly. Now Magana down the right side, forces up a shot around Kahiao Brune. Goes begging for a foul, but there wasn't much there. And that was just a kind of a off-balance desperation move. In transition, though, the Bearcats turn it over. Magana spins back the other way, right to the middle of the floor. He'll wait for the screen from Morrill. Now drive, gets into the paint and lays it up and in. Much better, more composed drive that time for Dayton Magana. And again, Linfield reclaims the lead, 24-23. You're in the 8-minute mark of the first half. Caleb Moore tries the back door. It closes quickly. Now Kai Brown has an open look at a 3. Kahiao Brune fading away. And a travel will keep the ball at the Bearcats' end when we return.
At MAPS Credit Union, all checking accounts are valuable. Free community checking benefits local causes when using your debit card. Passport checking is for those aged 55 plus. There's business and nonprofit checking too. Turn on MAP's new Roundup feature. All debit cards linked to the account will automatically be enrolled. Debit card transactions round up to the nearest dollar, and the difference is automatically transferred to your rewards account. There's a MAPS ATM inside Willamette's Putnam Center. Federally insured by the NCUA. Check online at mapscu.com.
Willamette University. You may not have heard of us, but you know who has? Some of the nation's top employers and graduate schools. They love Willamette's global-ready graduates, inquisitive, original thinkers who can adapt quickly to change, problem-solve complex challenges, and anticipate what's next. Learn more at willamette.edu. Willamette University, the Northwest's premier private university.
Well, Deontay Dean's off to a fantastic start for the Bearcats. He's got 11 points, well outpacing everyone on either team. He's got nearly half of Willamette's scoring output so far in this one. No other player has more than 6. That's his teammate Kai Brown. So between them, Dean and Brown accounting for 17 of the Bearcats' 23 points. A little bit more balanced for Linfield. We talked about their depth in the pregame show and how none of these guys average more than 23 minutes a game. Well, look at the scoring for them as well. They've gotten it from guys up and down their roster. Downing leads the way with 5, but 7, maybe 8 players have already scored a bucket for Linfield so far in this game. It's Bearcats basketball as we return to action on the floor. Dean goes up to rip down the inbound pass over Morrill. Back to Josiah Frank. Now Deontay Dean loses it. Reaching in, I believe, was Chase Bennett poking it away. Make that Jack Greenwood, who was trying to get the timeout, lying on the floor. Levi Sieg pleading for a timeout. Actually, that was Chase Bennett. Excuse me. 1 and 2 are both on the floor. Now Tanner Overby fresh on the floor for the Bearcats. Deontay Dean from the free throw line. That was halfway down, pops out. Chase Bennett will steer it the other way. 1 point game, under 7.5 to play here in the first. Doubleheader tonight, of course. Women's basketball to follow. Linfield's women's team having their best season in a quarter century. We'll talk about that, of course. And an offensive foul going against Logan Morrill. Trying to post up, just throwing guys around down in the low blocks. That's team foul number 7, the first on Morrill. And now Ryder Shung will come back onto the floor, and Linfield will pick up some pressure in backcourt. Nearly forces an uncharacteristic turnover. Now Josiah Frank reconstitutes, brings it the other way. Bit of a slow start for the Bearcats' leading scorer tonight, Josiah Frank. Kahiao Brune. There might have been some contact there from Collins. Battles through it. Brune now on the drive, pulling up from the elbow extended. Leaves it short, fading away. Rebound Donovan Johnson. Gets it back, drives, accelerates into the paint. His pass well behind the intended target, Morrill. And here come the Bearcats with numbers of their way. Tanner Johnson gets his defender in the air, and he'll shoot 2. How about the Bearcats running the floor? Man, that was a 4-on-1 break in the blink of an eye. Bearcats is racing back in transition. Left-handed free throw for Tanner Overby. Skips off the front of the rim. Mike Linehan getting a lot of guys some playing time here in the first half. Now we're getting our first look tonight at another of the freshman class. Brandon Dantzler on for the first time this evening. He and Tenether come back on together as Overby ties the game at 24. He splits the pair. Overby applying pressure in backcourt. Bennett able to clear the timeline with relative ease. Reverse it back on the near side for Greenwood. To the corner now for Cade Collins. Good defense on Collins. Now he drives. Will try to finish with the left hand in the paint. Brandon Dancer with a magnificent block. Swats that away. Now Overby on the drive. Off balance. Goes to the glass and lays it in. What a sequence for two of the first-year players in this program. Dantzler with the very acrobatic block at one end. Overby with the finish at the other. The freshman showing out here in the last few moments. That off-balance leaner for Morrill won't go. Overby ahead to Josiah Frank. They'll clear it out for Frank on the right side. He moves down toward the basket, guarded by Greenwood. Thought about the three, now hands it off inside for A.J. Tenether. Overby with nowhere to go. Tenether on the drive. Euro step, big block at the Linfield in this time. It is Logan Morrill swatting that out of bounds. It'll stay with the Bearcats, but just 4 seconds to shoot. 5:10 to play. Bearcats with a 2-point lead. Shung to inbound. His options, Dantzler, Overby. Tenether who gets it. Now Shung gets it back, raises for three. Too strong, Dantzler, the last man to it. And ahead of this Linfield possession, Morrill will head to the bench as Carlson will step back on. Those two kind of interchangeable. The two tallest players on this team. Greenwood had a nice game against Linfield last season. Cade Collins near side, guarded by Josiah Frank. 11 to shoot. Ooh, tough call going against Josiah Frank. It looked like Collins got the arm extended right into the chest of Josiah Frank. Frank absorbed that contact and then absorbs the foul call. That's team foul number 6 on Willamette, so Linfield shooting free throws the rest of the way. The inbound finds Donovan Johnson, raises immediately from 12 feet outside the lane, ties the game on a nice looking mid-range jump shot. 4.5 to play here in the first half. Dantzler's pass intended for Overby. Misses everyone. And now turnover number 6 on the Bearcats. 7 for Linfield thus far. Linfield shooting 48% from the floor. The Bearcats 38%. Yet we're all tied up. Tough pass inside. Good idea, just not enough space to make it work. Here's Tenether flipping up a shot off balance, sort of gliding across the lane. How about the athleticism from A.J. Tenether? My goodness. He just sort of sliced into the paint. Look at this replay. Falling away, able to settle himself midair and float that shot home. That is a good-looking basketball play. Tricky outlet pass, makes its way to Johnson. Up the floor into the hands of Greenwood. Linfield will settle into their offense. Bennett out on the logo. Double team, switches Frank onto him. They look inside, and it's kicked out of bounds by Ryder Shung, and that will bring us to a stoppage. We're going to keep it right here. We've got another first half Bearcat spotlight to bring you, and this time we are going to be talking about a guy we've yet to see on the floor this season. It is Truman Toiber. He's a junior from Bend, but he spent his first 2 years of college basketball down in Southern California at Santa Barbara City College. But he transferred back up this way. We'll talk about why in just a moment. In the meantime, let's bring you some of his favorites. His favorite food is chicken. Not in any form. He just loves chicken. His favorite athlete, Damian Lillard. Some Dame time. That is the first time we've heard anyone cite a Blazers player as their favorite athlete. His favorite pregame music, he's got a couple of artists that he goes to more often than not. It's Marco Money and G Herbo. His favorite team is the Blazers. His favorite things to do away from the basketball court are reading, hiking, paddleboarding, and drawing. So a very well-rounded set of things for Truman. Likes to get out into the outdoors and do some fun stuff, but he also can be found just lurking around his dorm room reading some books or drawing some pictures. His favorite spot in Salem. He said he was kind of keeping the theme of Caleb Moore, whose answer was Target, or maybe it was Kai Brown. Excuse me, it was Kai Brown, whose favorite spot in Salem was Target. So he's going with Walmart as his favorite spot, as that's the place that he goes to more often than anywhere else. His other sports that he enjoys playing are soccer and football. He's majoring in psychology, and he chose Willamette because he wanted to be closer to home and family. After spending 2 years down in sunny Southern California, wanted to get back a little bit closer to home. The native of Bend, now calling Salem home. He also really liked the coaches and the playing style here. He's also a big fan of the really good academics, in his words, that Willamette provides. After college, Truman wants to play overseas, get into coaching, maybe some player development or training as well. Just wants to be around the game of basketball. Those are the things he wants to do once he has earned his degree from Willamette. So yes, Truman Toiber, we've yet to see him on the floor thanks to an ACL injury. He's making great progress. They're bringing him along very slowly. As you know, there's a lot of guys on this team, so there's no great reason to rush him back. He will have 2 full years of eligibility starting next season. So while we haven't seen him on the floor, now you know a little bit more about Truman Toiber. Dean at the free throw line for the Bearcats, now shooting 40% from the floor. Dean, the only player in double figures for either team, and by a bundle. He's got twice as many points as anybody else in the game. Knocks down both free throws. The Bearcats now with their largest lead at 30-26. 3:20 left here in the first half. Game number 1 of a Northwest Conference doubleheader. Pressure in backcourt. Collins picks up his dribble. Rifles a pass to Greenwood. Toes the three-point line. Has Collins trailing. He'll try a straight on 3. That's too strong. Frank the long rebound. Kai Brown to his left, finds Shung. Drives, goes to the glass, lays it in. Ryder Shung with a fantastic finish in between 2 Linfield defenders. And now the Bearcats with their largest lead at 6. It grows. 32-26, under 3 left here in the first half. Now Collins and Frank exchanging pleasantries. Connor can't connect. Now Frank into the paint, nearly tied up. Back outside. Tenether will try for 3. Dean the offensive rebound. Raises from 8 feet outside the paint. And Deontay Dean now with 15 first half points. And the Bearcats opening things up here just a little. 34-26. Under 2.5 to play. Another clock issue stops the play for the moment. We'll get everything sorted as Uparessa Thomas will come back on. And Shung will step aside. How about Deontay Dean? 6 for 8. That shot a moment ago, 10, 11 feet out near the baseline. That's a tough shot for a lot of guys. Not for Deontay Dean. He is feeling it so far in this game, and the clock issues continue. Trying to get everything sorted out. There, we're getting another look at that Brandon Dantzler block. How about that? My goodness, that was gnarly. And there's that fantastic finish from A.J. Tenether as we're getting everything sorted out here on the floor. Shung with a beautiful finish, leaning in, forcing up that shot, willing it home. 8-point Bearcat lead as we return to action. Good set play out of the Horns look. But low in box pass skips off the hands of Cade Collins out of bounds. And the momentum continues to build for Willamette. 8-point lead, their largest of the game, and possession of the basketball. Frank sidles down the right side. Now Dean tries to force a pass inside to Dre Uparessa Thomas, but he wasn't quite ready for it. It sails right past him. An uncharacteristic turnover for Deontay Dean, who's such a great passer for a post player. I've said it a few times throughout the season. He's the best passing big man in our league, and I don't think it's close. Deontay Dean has such great instincts. His basketball IQ is off the charts. He just sees the floor a little different. Sees the angles. Uperessa and Thomas have been ready for that pass. Bearcats have a double-digit lead. Instead, Linfield basketball trailing by 8. Off the high screen. It is Jack Greenwood who makes the Bearcats pay. And what's all this? Do we have a technical foul? We might. One moment. A warning or an actual technical foul assessed. I'm not sure. Referee's talking about it here for a moment. Is this a double technical situation? I'm not entirely sure what's happening. So I'll tell you what, let's step away here for at least 30 seconds. Referees are going to talk this over. We'll be right back on the Bearcat Network.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
So it didn't take long for the referees to get things sorted. It was a double technical assessed to Jack Greenwood for Linfield. That's his first. And for the Bearcats, it goes against Josiah Frank. I believe that's his first as well. Frank back on the floor, works his way into the paint. Right at the front of the rim. Frank feathers that shot home. How about that play from the senior? Gets called for the half of the double technical anyway. And now Caleb Moore jabs that out of bounds, or so the referee saw it that way. Now Tanner Overby will come back on with 18 seconds showing on the shot clock for Linfield. Josiah Frank will come off. So the 5 on the floor for the Bearcats: Overby, Brown, Dean, Moore, and Tenether. Greenwood comes to get it, chased by Caleb Moore. Collins took his eye off it for a moment, but gathers. That pass never had a chance. Kai Brown quickly ahead. It's A.J. Tenether getting to the rack, going to the glass, laying it in. 9-point Bearcat lead. Under a minute to play here in the first half. That was an ill-advised pass from Cade Collins. 2 Bearcats standing there. Now Collins into the paint, steadies himself and floats it home. Man, is he good or what? That dude can play, no question about it. 2 years of eligibility remaining. He's the kind of guy you build a program around. He looked awfully good on that drive after throwing a tough pass the possession before. Here's Dean, bounces it inside for A.J. Tenether, his shot blocked. Lowenbach did a nice job retreating on defense. Great pass from Deontay Dean once again. Such a stellar passer. Shot clock off with 10 to go here in the first. This is Greenwood asking for the clear out. Overby stays with him. Now Greenwood, nowhere to go. Spins, will hoist up a tough shot. Misses everything. And that is how the first half will end. Outstanding defense from Tanner Overby on the final possession of the half for Linfield. Brings the half to a close. It was nip and tuck. These teams were trading baskets back and forth. I think we had 7, maybe 8 lead changes in the half, but the Bearcats building now a 7-point lead that they will take into the halftime break. Folks, we'll take an extended break here on the broadcast, but please come hang out with us again in about 12 minutes. We will on the glass. Starting 5 back on the floor for Willamette ahead of the start of the second half. Looks like Linfield will open with their same starting 5 as well. It will be Wildcats possession to start the second half. We'll get you some more score updates from around the league as opportunities provide. The corner it goes to Greenwood. Now Johnson steps left, passes right. Lowenbach has it. Dean switches on to Greenwood for the moment. Kai Brown chasing around. Good help defense from Deontay Dean to bother that shot. Now Caleb Moore races into the open floor. Finds Josiah Frankie. Had no one in front of him, but his shot a little bit too strong. And there it is, the first three of the game for the Bearcats, and it gives them their largest lead in the first double-digit lead of the game for either team. 41-31 on the Shung from three on their first touch. Now Kai Brown steps in, pokes it away from behind. He's got a man chasing him from behind. Might have been better off waiting for a couple of teammates to catch up with him, but Kai Brown did have an open lane after he jabbed that pass away from behind. So Brown with the steal takes it the length of the floor, but dribbles into a double team and has a shot blocked out of bounds. So it stays with the Bearcats. Now Shung will try for three again. Just a touch too short, straight on. Looked good when he let it go. But Cade Collins goes skying for the rebound. Now it's Lowenbach down low. That shot bothered by Deontay Dean. It looked like all ball from here. My goodness, Dean called for the foul. That'll be his second. And the first foul against either team here in the second half. It is the second on Dean. No player in significant foul trouble for either team. Linfield's got three dudes with 2 fouls apiece, and Dean becomes the third Bearcat, assessed with his second. Bit of a mechanical release there from Lowenbach from the free throw line. It skips off the rim. 8-point game just into the second half. Here's Kai Brown as Dean. Great jump stop inside and powers to the rim and lays it in. 17 points for Deontay Dean. Just no answers from Linfield for Deontay Dean so far in this game. He's 7 for 9 now from the floor, having his way, just feasting down low. He backs off of Lowenbach. Thought about passing it inside, and then goes to set the screen. Greenwood hands it off to Johnson. Now Greenwood with a wide open three in front of his own bench. It sat on the rim and eventually fell. That's a big shot for the Wildcats. That is the first three-point attempt of the game for Greenwood. Squares it up, knocks it down. Kai Brown skips to the top of the key. And Caleb Moore, called for the travel, takes the extra step as he starts his move into the paint. Deontay Dean with 17 points with 18 minutes to go. No other player in this game has more than 8. I misspoke about Greenwood. That's his second three of the contest. He's now got a team-high 8 points for Linfield. He splits the defense here, tries the left side, met at the apex by Ryder Shung. Ill-advised drive perhaps for Greenwood. Fearlessness, check. Results, well, we won't check that one for the time being as Shung swats the shot out of bounds. Now Collins hits his feet going too quickly. He's whistled for the travel in the open floor. So Moore called for one at one end. Collins for another at the other end. And now Brown to run the offense around to the Deontay Dean screen. Good defense from Cade Collins, excuse me. Shung looks inside for Dean, but good defense from Lowenbach. That cross-court pass nearly picked off. It finds its way to Frank. He'll drive now on Greenwood, gets right to the rim, but leaves it short, and Greenwood had the rebound, but Frank pokes it out of bounds. First sub of the half will come on for the Bearcats, A.J. Tinether. He had 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting in the first half, picked up a couple of fouls, but also hauled down 3 boards. He's back on for his first action of the second. Bearcats picking up some good pressure in backcourt. Collins nearly turns it over. Now Greenwood with another look at a three. Steps to his left, lets that go. Lowenbach in the right spot, but can't get the putback to go. Second won't go either. Now Shung covers up. Quick outlet ahead, finds Tinether. Streaking to the basket, goes to the left hand. Frank there for the putback, but it's taken away by Lowenbach. And now Greenwood will slow things down for the moment. Jahala, though, accelerates, loses his feet, gets on the floor, and calls a timeout from the seat of his pants. Will this stretch to a full? They're calling a 30. It may stretch to a full. We'll get this sorted. It will, in fact, stretch to a full timeout. So we will step away for 60 seconds. Come right back on the Bearcat Network.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Banking with a bank or MAPS Credit Union. The benefits at MAPS are amazing. Their commitment is that every member benefits. Visit MAP's new professional center in Salem, where their experts and resources are available under one roof. From a simple deposit to home loans, financial questions, insurance or business accounts, this one-stop shop means handling every financial need in one visit to the professional center on Division Street. And there's a MAPS ATM inside Willamette's Putnam Center, federally insured by the NCUA. Look online at mapscu.com.
Just about 3.5 minutes gone by here in half number 2. Quickly took a look at some scores around the league. Whitworth having its way with Pacific. They're up big at the under 12 media time out of the second half. And now we can switch to the quad box. As you can see, we've got a couple very tight games. Now, George Fox, a moment ago, that game was tied. So Fox has now scored 6 consecutive points to open up a 6-point lead. The other game is knotted up. Now Brown, a ton of contact beneath the basket. How is no foul called on Lowenbach? Brown able to finish through it, goes sprawling, goes flying out of bounds, in fact. Now Lowenbach at the other end, fouled from behind by Brune, who's back on the floor for the Bearcats, as is Overby. Out of the timeout a moment ago called by the Wildcats that became the first media. And ahead of this inbound, Pearson Wiggins will check back on for the Bearcats. He played about 5 minutes in the first half. Shung will step aside. And Pearson Wiggins will draw the defensive assignment on Cade Lowenbach. Lowenbach 4 points, 4 boards in this game. So 45-38 the score. They adjust the clock, or the scoreboard, I should say. That was a long 2 a moment ago for the Wildcats, so a 7-point Bearcat lead. Here's Greenwood, back to Lowenbach. To the corner, 3 on the way from Donovan Johnson, wedges itself between the rim and the backboard. It will go over to the Bearcats. That actually counts as an alternating possession, I believe. And now we'll step away again for another timeout. 7-point game in Salem on the Bearcat Network.
In a world that constantly evolves, where yesterday's answers will not solve today's challenges, Willamette University bridges the gap between knowledge and action. We educate tomorrow's leaders, problem solvers, creators, and innovators. An interdisciplinary and interconnected community with campuses in Salem and Portland, Oregon. A tradition of excellence since 1842. Willamette University, turning knowledge into action.
Unleash your inner photographer at Focal Point Photography, the Willamette Valley's premier camera haven. 20 minutes west of Salem, we're your one-stop shop for capturing life's unforgettable moments. Whether you're a pro or a beginner, we have something for everyone. Explore the latest digital cameras or rediscover the timeless charm of film. Our rental program lets you try before you buy, ensuring you find the perfect equipment for your next adventure. Our knowledgeable staff is ready to help you find the gear that unlocks your true creative potential. Visit us today at Focal Point Photography.
45-38 our score, just about 4 minutes gone by here in half number 2. This is, of course, the first of 2 games tonight. We've got women's basketball action to follow. The surprising Linfield women's basketball team, 17-4 on the season, 8-4, and in second place. Having a banner year under 10th year head coach Casey Bunn Wilson. It is Bearcat basketball. That was an alternating possession. Now, Amounted to a held ball. Here's Tanner Overby. How about that set play out of the timeout? Mike Linehan dials it up perfectly. They find Tanner Overby streaking from the corner along the baseline, gets a defender in the air. Overby just so strong, able to easily battle through that contact. Absorbs it, heads to the line. That is one strong dude. Tanner Overby. Second trip to the line tonight. He's good on that, and Bearcats back in front by double digits. Tenether nearly takes it away. Overby does! Dumps it off for Tenether. Fights up the lefty shot in traffic. It rolls off the rim and is last touched out of bounds by the Bearcats. Bearcats with an opportunity. They force the turnover in backcourt. They will reapply pressure here. Collins gets it in. Oh, and here travel from Bagania. Gets it across, now to the corner. Downing a transition three. Well short. Look at Tanner Overby flying in for the rebound. His head nearly at the rim when he tore that down. Here's Tenether. Outside, Kai Brown with a defender flying at him. Three is good! Kai Brown drains the three with a defender flying out toward him. No. Well, don't mind us. We're just spilling water all over the place over here. No big deal. Things happening. We got this. All's well. Big mess. Forgot to screw the lid back on the water bottle, and we are now paying the price. A 13-point game here. Raising for two hands and packing it home. Cade Lowenbach gets loose down low. The one time I don't screw the water bottle back on, screw the lid back on the water bottle, it gets knocked over and water spills everywhere. Oh, geez. Hilarious. Cade Collins racing the floor. Leaves it up top. That pass goes right through the hands of Carlson. Missed opportunity for Linfield. Overby the other way. Skip pass up top for Frank. Dean from the high post loses the dribble. It's taken off the deck by Greenwood. Quick outlet ahead to Collins. Switches to the left hand. Uses the rim and finishes beneath it. 9-point game. Back-to-back buckets here for Linfield. Overby on the near side. Backing down on Greenwood. Reverses back up top for Frank. Now Overby. Drives, pulls up from the elbow. Floats it home. Tanner Overby having a really nice second half. He's been earning more and more minutes. Oh, and here travel for Magana. Rips through defenders. Ahead to Greenwood. Drives, leaves it off beneath the basket. That shot bothered, but a foul is called. Kahi Albrun commits it on Garrett Carlson, and he will head to the line. Carlson good on the first of two. And now Whitaker will check back on. Percy Whitaker, a freshman from Chula Vista, California. Seeing his first action here in half number two.
Come back, sorry, my fault.
13:40 to play in a 10-point game. And now Caleb Moore will rejoin the fray for the Bearcats as Kahi Albrun, after he picks up his third foul, will step aside. Quiet night for Brun in limited minutes, in part because of the foul trouble. Frank saunters across the timeline, now accelerates around Magana, gets to the rack, lays it up and in. Josiah Frank with just the absolute rope-a-dope right there. Lulls the defense to sleep. Now Collins the other way. Did he travel? He did. Cade Collins couldn't slam the brakes on fast enough. Look at this replay. Frank switching back to the right, finishing in front of 3 different Linfield defenders. Frank starting to really play some inspired basketball here in the second half, as he is known to do. The second half is his time. Here's Dean. Slides a pass back to Overby. Gets it back. Now Caleb Moore with 10 on the shot clock. Takes the scenic route to the corner. Down to Dean beneath the basket, but he's fouled from behind, and Deontay Dean will shoot 2. Great find inside from Josiah Frank. Just whipped a pass into the hands of Deontay Dean. Has a smile on his face. He's probably a little frustrated, thinking that he could have finished through that contact. Was fouled from behind, knocked off the spot by Carlson. That's his 3rd. And foul number 2 on the Wildcats in the second. Jack Greenwood now in double figures for Linfield. He's got an even 10. Brown has joined Dean in doubles. He's got 11. And Dean stays perfect at the line. He's 5 for 5, and he's got a game-high 19 points. More pressure in backcourt. Magana doubled right on the baseline. Overby stays right with him. Ahead they find Whitaker. He'll cross the timeline, has numbers, gets into the paint. His shot blocked by Deontay Dean. Now Shung ahead, bounces it off in transition for Overby. He'll slow things down. 13-point lead. Now Frank behind the screen, drains a 3. And the Bearcats opening things up. They lead by 16. And a near turnover in backcourt. How about Josiah Frank, as he always does, roaring to life in the second half. Magana hounded, gives it off, and Linfield throws it away. The Wildcats completely out of sorts. They've lost 4 straight, and they are listing badly. This is exactly the second half performance that Mike Linehan was hoping for his team. They faded in the second half last weekend against both Whitman and then Whitworth. They were ahead in both of those games and wound up losing each by 18. Well, tonight, they led by 7 at the break, up 16 with possession. Overby nowhere to go. Wisely backs it out for Shung, but it's stripped away by Zach Luce. He'll take it the other way and lay it in. Shung called for the foul, and Luce will shoot free throws after this media timeout. We're going to keep it right here, however. We've got the 3rd of 4 Bearcat Spotlights to bring you tonight. And this time we're going to talk about another sophomore on this team. Let's introduce you to a guy that you've been watching all season long. He's really grown up in a big hurry. We're talking about A.J. Tinether. First name Anajan, but goes by A.J. The sophomore from Cupertino, graduated from St. Francis High School. His favorite food, enchiladas with green sauce. Very particular about that green sauce, mind you. His favorite athletes, well, he's got 2. Kobe is one of them, but Virat Kohli is another. We'll talk about why Virat Kohli is one of his favorite athletes here in just a moment. His favorite pregame music mixed into the playlist anyway, you'll find, well, a wide range of stuff. He's got Eminem, Bob Marley, and Tupac as 3 of his top artists. His favorite team is the Dubs. He is a native of, well, Northern California anyway, so the Warriors, his favorite team. Away from the basketball court, AJ loves hanging out with his friends, playing some cards, and watching Netflix. His favorite spot in Salem is the Sassy Onion. Really nice breakfast and lunch spot right across the street from campus. Other sports that he enjoys playing, this is where that other athlete comes into play. Virat Kohli is a very famous cricket player. Well, one of AJ's favorite things to do is to play cricket with his family. We'll get to that in just a second. But so he loves playing cricket. He's also a really good, accomplished volleyball player as well. There's two really good volleyball players on this basketball team, Eli Looney being the other. But AJ loves playing volleyball as well. He is a data science major here at Willamette. He chose Willamette because he just liked the people. He said that the guys on the team were just good dudes. When he came for his visit, he was really impressed and just felt very comfortable with the guys. And here he is right now, right on cue. A.J. Tinether streaking to the basket off a back pick, curling into the paint, laying it up and in. After college, A.J. wants to stay involved in basketball, but he also wants to move to a bigger city. So that's a little bit more about A.J. Tinether, who scored a bucket while we were talking about him here in the spotlight. Caleb Moore has his shot blocked from behind. Always enjoyed talking with A.J.'s father whenever he's in town. I'm sure he's watching tonight. Deontay Dean again. No answers at all from Linfield for Deontay Dean. Now 8 for 10 from the floor. A game-high 21. Deontay Dean just punishing Linfield down low. Big smile on his face, standing out near midcourt. Back to a 15-point lead. Magana with a little bit more trouble, getting the ball up the court. Bounces it ahead to Whitaker. Drives on Dean, goes right at him, can't finish. Dean eventually comes away with the rebound after putback won't go. Caleb Moore to the corner. Kai Brown, three-pointer. Just a touch too short. Downing there for the board. So Tinether loves playing cricket with his family. Virat Kohli, I'm going to have to go out to YouTube. Check out some clips. That's a good-looking drive from Magana. He puts his head down and pulls up from just inside the free throw line, and it's back down to 13 now. Bearcats have looked really good in the second half. Here's Tinether. Bounces it off. Dean instead kicks up top for Frank. He'll drive on Magana. Leans into him. Magana got underneath him, but Kai Brown, a very strong offensive rebound, extending the possession. And now a whistle, a stoppage, simply because we've got to reset the shot clock to 20 seconds. So possession will stay with the Bearcats. So the shot clock resets to 18 seconds. Brandon Dantzler back on the floor for the first time here in the second half, and Shung will step back on. Here comes Tinether to the bench. Brown to enter. Here's Caleb Moore. Over to Shung. Thought about the three and said kicks to the corner. Now Dantzler down low. That's a tough pass inside. And a foul committed in backcourt ahead of the Linfield transition opportunity. So 9:38 left in this game. I think we've got all the water cleaned up down here. Oh, my goodness. That was preposterous. What are you, new? Come on, Lucero. Screw the cap on your gosh darn water bottle, for crying out loud. Well, we battled through. It was about a 13-point Bearcat lead ahead of the water spill. And it's once again a 13-point lead. That, by the way, is the first time anyone's collided with this end of the score of the table. Another administrative reset as the clock issues persist here inside Cone Fieldhouse. Kahiel Brun now will come back on, and Dantzler will step aside. So, yes, a 13-point Willamette lead pre-spill, and it remains a 13-point lead now that it's been cleaned up. Bearcats on the road tomorrow. They will face Pacific Lutheran men's basketball at 4 up in Parkland. The women's game follows at 6. These two programs have one more game left tonight. Shung picks off that cross-court pass, races the other way. He's fouled from behind. Despite the protest from Max Jahala, they did get tangled up a little. And that's the third foul. Of the half going against Linfield. They'll actually call that a shooting foul as Shung, oh, no. Shung is, they're lining up. Everyone's lining up for free throws, but they are saying ball out of bounds. So 28 on the shot clock for the Bearcats. Caleb Moore to enter, standing to the right of his basket. A little bit of trouble. The pass goes through the hands of Brune. Frank, though, able to track it down. Now here's Brown on the drive. Rifles a pass to Ryder Shung. His three on the way. Lips out. Strong rebound. Kahiel Brune back to the corner. A three for Frank this time. Oh, he thought he had it, but Brown there to clean things up. Wild, chaotic sequence down here at the Willamette end. Eventually, it's Kai Brown who knocks it home. And we're back to a 15-point Bearcat advantage as we hit the 9-minute mark of the game. Magana tiptoes a few steps to his left, looking down low, has Carlson posted up on Brune, goes right to work and lays it up and in. Here's Caleb Moore racing out the other way. Skips into the front court, hands it off to Brune. No look pass to Frank, raises for three. A little bit wide left. And the ball goes out of bounds to Linfield. The Wildcats will bring 5 fresh bodies to the floor. Full line change, wholesale changes for Linfield ahead of this offensive possession. Also, Deontay Dean will return. So back on the floor for Linfield, Downing, Bennett, Greenwood, Collins, and Lowenbach. Collins handles, guarded by Moore, and Caleb Moore wave off that three from Collins as that foul whistled against Caleb Moore well ahead of the shot release. That is team foul number 8 on the Bearcats. Just 3 whistled against Linfield here in the second. So Collins will head to the line for a 1-and-1. Bearcats have done a really nice job on Collins tonight. 8 points on 4 of 9 shooting. He misses the front end, and Dean there to cover up. Give him a game-high 6 rebounds to go along with those 21 points. Gets a quick touch at the top of the key. Now Shung has it poked away by Collins. Shung tracks it down. Feathers a pass to Kai Brown. Brown back over to Shung. Down low to Dean. Hesitation, move! Deontay Dean powers through the contact from Lowenbach. And Deontay Dean absolutely balling out in this game. 23 points, 9 for 11 from the floor. Deontay Dean is a bad, bad man. Oh my goodness. Stop it. Just stop it, 13. And he remains perfect at the line. 6 for 6 from the line, 9 for 11 from the floor. Deontay Dean going off. Back to a 16-point lead, just over 8 to play. Chase Bennett. Nearly travels, gives it to Lowenbach. Linfield's just been on their heels so much of this second half. They look rattled. Here's Lowenbach getting loose. Nice little double clutch move, but he can't finish, and here comes Tenether the other way. Over to Brown. Spins into the paint, back outside. Tenether looks left, comes right. Nowhere to go. Recycles up top. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Brown spins, dumps it off. Beautiful pass from Tenether to Dean, but he mishandles it, but kicks back up top for Shung. Now Tenether, straight on 3. Too short. Rebound Collins. That pass deflected by Moore into the hands of Dean. Tenether ahead to Shung. Drives. Steps through. Acrobatic play, Ryder Shung. How in the world did he get that to go? A big smile back to the bench as he goes back up the floor. And this now the largest lead for the Bearcats at 18. Under 7 to play. The Bearcats is having some fun at this point. Let's go. Collins spins away from Moore. Pulls up from 21 and knocks it home. And now Mike Linehan would like a timeout. Really nice looking release on that long 2-point shot for Cade Collins. but it is Willamette by a bundle. And we're going to keep things here one final time. We've got one more Bearcat Spotlight to bring you tonight. Let's go ahead and tee this up for you. We are now going to introduce you to another of the transfers on this team. This time it's Darren Lum. Darren is a junior. He comes by way of Skyline Community College down in San Francisco, where he also attended Lincoln High School down in the Bay. His favorite food is katsu chicken curry. His favorite athlete, well, again, he's a Bay Area guy, so you can't really fault him for this one. Steph is his favorite player. He loves the song In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. That is his get stoked tune right there. He's also a big fan of J. Cole. His favorite team, the Warriors, away from the basketball court. Well, Darren goes back to the basketball court. He loves coaching basketball, but he also spending time with his loved ones, Darren, let's get that right. He loves spending time with his loved ones besides coaching basketball. His favorite spot in Salem is Bow and Vine Burger Bar. He also loves playing pickleball, which is pretty cool. A lot of these guys are picking up pickleball. I've heard that from a number of different players on this team. He's a business administration major, and he chose Willamette in part because he just really liked Coach Linehan quite a bit. He also was really fond of the business program. He took a look at that business program. He is a business administration major. Saw that program was really in line with what he wanted to do as far as his career goals go. He thought it was also, in his words, a good opportunity to be somewhere away from home and try out a different environment. And after college, Darren wants to play professional basketball, but he also wants to stay in basketball and coach either high school or college basketball. That's a little bit more information about Darren Lum. Here's Caleb Moore taking the pass from Deontay Dean. That's assist number 4 for Dean to go with 24 points and 6 boards. Oh, man. Deontay Dean just having an electrifying night, doing a little bit of everything at the offensive end. Lowenbach with no defender within 10 feet of him. Now he posts up on Dean. Fakes left, nowhere to go. Back up top, over to Bennett. He'll try for 3. That misses everything and sails out of bounds. We've yet to see Darren Lum on the floor tonight, but he is a spectacular long-range shooter. He might get some minutes here down the stretch. We're under 6 to play now. Bearcats in firm control, up 18. Trying to handle Linfield, their 5th consecutive loss. They were 4-4 in the first half of conference play, but if this lead holds, they will have gone 0-5. Meanwhile, of course, the Bearcats lost their first 8 games in conference play, but a win tonight will bring their record to 3-2 in the second half of conference play. A loss tonight would also eliminate Linfield from postseason contention. We will take another look at the other games around the league, some big ones with postseason implications all over the league tonight. Pacific Lutheran, the only team that's off. They had a big win against Puget Sound on Tuesday. And that is who the Bearcats will face on the road tomorrow up in South Tacoma. Here's Caleb Moore. Tries to hand it off inside for Pearson Wiggins, but the pass goes off of Wiggins' knee out of bounds. Gavin Perdue will check into the game for the first time tonight for Linfield. He's a freshman from just over the Columbia River. He's a Vancouver native. How good has the pressure from Willamette been in the backcourt tonight? Very disruptive anyway. Now he just stepped on the court a second ago. He's logged all of 4 seconds in this game, and Gavin Perdue is already into the scoring ledger. Give him credit for that 3-point bomb. 15-point game. Wiggins handles between the circles. 1 dribble to his left, picks it up. Defers to Caleb Moore. Moore switches, has a defender switch off to him, tries to leave it for Wiggins, but that pass just a touch behind Pearson as he rolls to the rack. Wiggins tried to reach back for it, but wasn't able to quite gather it with much of a chance to do anything with it anyway. It does stay with the Bearcats. Here's Tenether at the top of the key. Over to Brune. He'll drive into the paint. Scoop a shot up and in. Caleb Brune Mahial Brun restakes the Bearcats to a 17-point advantage. This has been a really strong second-half showing for these Bearcats, and boy, do they need it. 2-3 zone look now for the Bearcats. Moore and Frank at the top of it. Brun and Tinether on the wings with Dean haunting the paint. Skip pass to the corner. Over to Purdue. Now driving and pulling up. Zach loose, getting loose. But he's unable to finish, and we're under 4. Tinether scoops a pass ahead to Frank. Lowers his head, but backs out. Tinether crossing over not once but twice. Sets up Brun. His 3 off the front of the rim. Frank, though, backs up. He'll try for 3 from the opposite side. And this now pretty much out of reach. It's a 20-point lead for Willamette, their largest of the night. Nearing the 3-minute mark in the Bearcats. Firmly in control of this game. Lost both games at home last weekend. This was the last of 4 consecutive home games as losing control is loose. Now Frank with numbers ahead. Brun gets tangled up, goes to the seat of his pants. Linfield fans calling for a travel in their right. However, what should have been called was the foul that tripped up Brun in the first place. We play on. Now here's Brun with no one behind him. Raises with 2 hands, double clutch punch. And the Bearcats pouring it on, 80-58, having some fun at home on Valentine's Day. Purdue with a little extra for Frank as they make their way back toward the Linfield end of the floor. Near side, this is Greenwood. Luce missed from there a moment ago. He misses from the same spot. And another rebound for Dean. He's got 7. 24, 7, and 4 in this game for Deontay Dean. Massive performance for the senior from the Bahamas. Here's Frank on the drive. Gets around his defender. Finger roll, no good. Under 2 to play, 22-point game. Purdue thinks about a 3. Instead, defers to Bennett. He'll try for 3 in front of his bench. Tinether tears down the rebound. And Mike Linehan will call a quick timeout. Well, the Bearcats found themselves mixed up in what really has been the game of the year in the Northwest Conference when they beat George Fox 111-104 2 weeks ago here at home. This, however, their most dominant performance in league play this season. They lead 80-58. Quick look. Whitworth did knock off Pacific tonight. They are firmly entrenched at the top of the standings. George Fox has opened up an 11-point lead on Whitman over in Walla Walla. That would be a big, big win for George Fox tonight. Right in the thick of the playoff chase. Meanwhile, Puget Sound is going to defeat Lewis and Clark. So Aubrey Shelton's team from Tacoma at home tonight going to get it done against current second-place team Lewis and Clark. It's a big loss for Lewis and Clark. The Loggers vaulting themselves back into contention. They've got work to do, but they are going to defeat Lewis and Clark. They're now up 13 with 13 seconds left. And the Bearcats turn to their bench. Darren Lum on the floor, as is DJ Jones. Deacon Perry out there for the first time tonight, and so is Will Hurst. Adam Asai saw some minutes early in this game. Lum's pass intended for Asai. Deflected out of bounds, so 12 on the shot clock. Will Hurst to enter. Here's DJ Jones. Now Asai jabs right. To the corner, sets up Will Hurst. He'll try for a 3. A little bit off the mark, and their long rebound tracked down in the corner. It's taken away by Asai. Asai to the basket. It's blocked. And saved back in bounds. Quickly ahead comes Linfield. Deacon Perry deflects that pass into the hands of Lum, but Lum trying to save it, winds up stepping on the baseline. Bearcats going to snap a 2-game losing streak. Linfield's current losing streak will extend to 5. 80-58 the score. We've got more basketball to bring you here on the network. Luce just not giving up on that mid-range jump shot. Missed a couple from about that same spot, but connects there. It's a good-looking stroke. Got to respect the mid-range game. Now Darren Lum dials one up from deep near the sideline. Weak side rebound brought down by Donovan Johnson. We're under a minute to play. All just window dressing as Asai gets another steal, his second in the last minute. And DJ Jones streaking to the basket, but that pass telegraphed and intercepted. From the corner, Luce skips off the rim. Shot clock off for the final 15 ticks. That shot from Dayton Magana will likely end the scoring tonight. Asai works it across the timeline, and the Bearcats will in fact run out the final seconds of this game. Final game of a 4-game homestand for Willamette results in a very impressive, convincing 80-62 defeat of the Linfield Wildcats. The Linfield woes